What if, for a single heartbeat of the universe, gravity let go, and everything we thought was bound was suddenly free? The question hangs in the darkness like a suspended planet. To imagine the absence of gravity is to imagine a world without the glue that holds existence together. For gravity is not a distant concept, locked away in equations or confined to observatories. It is the invisible sculptor of every moment, pulling oceans toward the moon, pressing feet to the ground, gathering atoms into stars, and folding time into orbits. It is a quiet presence, rarely noticed, yet always there, the rhythm of the cosmos itself. Now imagine it stops. 1 second, a pause so small it seems harmless. Yet in that instant, the architecture of reality trembles. The Earth spins at over 1,600 kilometers per hour at the equator. But gravity is what keeps oceans from flying away, what holds air to our lungs, what allows mountains to sit still. Without it, the seas rise like glass, expanding outward, no longer tethered to the planet's skin. People feel their bodies lift, their muscles useless against the sudden freedom. Cars, stones, trees, even the breath inside the chest all drift upward. Not with violent explosion, but with eerie calm. The silence deepens above. Satellites that once circled obediently in orbit now continue in straight lines. Their pathways no longer curved by Earth's pull. They become wandering sparks, lost in the geometry of space. The moon, in that second, begins to slip, no longer chained to its ancient partner. Even the Earth itself feels the shift as the sun's grip is momentarily gone. A planet in motion without a tether continues straight. Straying from its orbit like a stone loosed from a sling dot, it is only 1 second. But in the language of the cosmos, a second is enough to change the script. On the ground, the air unravels. Atmosphere, once bound close to the planet, surges outward. Birds in flight find themselves hurled into directionless drift. Rivers ripple into the sky. Skyscrapers begin to peel away brick by brick, each piece freed from weight. Human beings, too, are lifted from streets, from beds, from the illusion of safety. Some drift gently, others collide against walls as momentum carries them. The world feels not like a place, but a dream, unraveling, and yet inertia keeps everything moving. The Earth spins still, and in that spin, the lifted bodies, cars, and oceans do not hover politely. They move sideways with terrifying speed. Gravity's absence means no anchor, and the spinning Earth flings everything outward, as if the planet itself were trying to shed its skin. In the distance, mountains crumble, their boulders no longer held. Valleys lose their rivers. The seas, torn from their beds, drift outward, forming vast, shimmering globes of water suspended in air. For a heartbeat, Earth resembles not a planet, but a broken painting oceans detached, continents quivering, clouds stretching outward into space. Then comes the realization. Gravity is not only a force of the present, it is memory. Every orbit, every tide, every step is the product of yesterday's pull. Remove it, and the future forgets its place. The solar system itself begins to fray. The Earth, having lost the sun's hand, carries its velocity onward in a straight path. Jupiter, Mars, and the outer worlds each do the same. The choreography of planets dissolves, replaced by chaos. 1 second, but 1 second is also a fracture. When gravity returns, the universe does not simply reset. The oceans, suspended above cities, crash back with unimaginable force. Skyscrapers collapse under the sudden weight of their own freed pieces. People fall from impossible heights, carried skyward only to be hurled back down. Satellites, once in straight-line drift, find themselves dragged violently into skewed orbits, many burning into the atmosphere. The moon, pulled again toward Earth, wobbles in its path, its dance forever altered. The aftermath is devastation. But more haunting than destruction is the silence revealed, the reminder that the universe hangs together by a single thread, a force unseen, taken for granted, yet woven into every breath of life. Gravity is not simply downward pull, it is the conversation between mass and space itself. Without it, space unbends. Time loses structure. The universe, in that fragile second, shows its true vulnerability, that existence is balanced on an invisible fabric, stretched thin across eternity, and here lies the deeper terror. What if gravity is not eternal? What if it is not a permanent feature of reality, but a property that could change, weaken, or even vanish? Could the universe one day unspool, its stars set loose into infinite drift? In the pause of that imagined second lies the recognition that gravity is not just a force, it is the stage, the foundation, the unseen theater in which everything performs. Without it, even identity dissolves. For what are we if not beings held together by weight, by grounding, by belonging to a world that holds us close? The vision lingers like an afterimage, oceans in the sky, mountains dissolving, planets scattering like seeds into the dark. The curtain of gravity falls back into place, and life continues. But the question remains, what is this force that can cradle galaxies and yet vanish, even in imagination, to reveal such fragility? To answer, the story must turn not to the silence of falling worlds, but to the minds that first sought to name the invisible, the dreamers who gave shape to gravity itself. Long before the word gravity was spoken, humanity sensed its pull. Hunters felt the weight of stones in their hands. Builders saw walls collapse without foundation. Farmers watched rain fall and rivers descend. Yet for millennia, this invisible tug remained unnamed, assumed to be as natural and unquestioned as breath itself. To fall was to fall. No explanation required. But whispers of curiosity stirred in ancient times. Greek philosophers, staring at the heavens, wondered why the moon did not tumble like loose fruit. Aristotle, in his Conviction, declared that heavy things sought the center of the world, while lighter things sought the sky. It was not a force, but a purpose, a cosmos ruled by natural order. His vision endured for nearly 2,000 years, shaping the medieval sky like an unchallenged scripture. Then came a quiet shift in the 16th century. Nicolaus Copernicus dared to place the sun, not the earth, at the heart of celestial order. His sun-centered model was a rebellion, a crack in Aristotle's fortress, and with it came new questions. If Earth moves, why does everything not fall away? What holds the moon in its endless loop around the planet? What unseen tether binds the heavens into their elegant dance? The telescope soon widened human sight. Galileo Galilei, peering at Jupiter's moons, saw worlds circling a planet, not our own. Motion was universal. He dropped spheres from towers, rolled balls along inclined planes, and dared to suggest that all things fall with the same acceleration, regardless of weight. The seeds of a revolution were planted, and then, beneath a tree in England, an apple fell. The story is half legend, half truth. Yet, its image endures because it speaks to the moment when ordinary sight collides with extraordinary thought. Isaac Newton, born amid plague and civil war, turned solitude into revelation. The apple's descent was not just a matter of Earth's pull. Could it be, he wondered, the very same force that keeps the moon in orbit? If an apple falls to the ground, might the moon be falling endlessly too, curving around Earth in perpetual surrender to an unseen hand? By candlelight, Newton stitched numbers into nature. His Principia Mathematica, published in 1687, gave form to the invisible, a universal law of gravitation. Every mass in the universe attracts every other mass. The Earth pulls the apple pulls the Earth. The sun binds the planets, and the planets in turn tug on one another. With a single equation, Newton unified the heavens and the Earth. It was as if a veil had been lifted. For the first time, human beings could predict the motion of comets, chart eclipses centuries ahead, and understand tides as the whispers of the moon. The universe was no longer chaos, but a clock, vast yet calculable. Gravity had become a law, invisible, yet written into the geometry of existence. And yet, even Newton knew he had not touched the heart of the mystery. Hypotheses, Nanfingo, he confessed. I frame no hypotheses. He could describe gravity's mathematics, but not its essence. What is this force? How does one mass reach across empty space to pull another? He left the question unanswered, like a haunting silence between equations. 2 centuries passed. The Industrial Revolution thundered. Railways carved the earth, and telescopes reached deeper into the night. Yet Newton's silence remained, echoing in the minds of dreamers. Among them was a boy in Germany, who struggled with words, but saw the world in thought experiments. Albert Einstein, scribbling in notebooks and staring at imagined beams of light, dared to believe Newton's clockwork was incomplete. For Einstein, the question was not, what is gravity pulling? But what is space itself doing? His breakthrough came not from an apple, but from a falling man. He imagined someone plummeting from a rooftop, weightless in freefall. In that moment, the man feels no gravity. Could it be that falling is simply moving freely through curved space? In 1915, Einstein unveiled his general theory of relativity. Gravity was no longer a force reaching through emptiness. It was the warping of space-time itself. Mass and energy bend the cosmic fabric, and objects move along those curves. The Earth does not cling to the sun by an invisible hand. It glides effortlessly along the dimple carved by the sun's mass. The apple falls because the Earth's mass bends space-time beneath it. Time and space themselves are shaped by weight. The implications were staggering. Time ran slower near massive objects. Light itself bent around stars. The cosmos was not a stage where gravity acted. Gravity was the stage. And yet, with every revelation came new mysteries. If gravity is the bending of space-time, what bends it at the smallest scales? Can Einstein's horizon of curved geometry coexist with the jittering uncertainty of quantum mechanics? The two great languages of physics remain uneasy companions, their edges fraying where black holes and the Big Bang dwell still. Between Newton and Einstein lies a testament to human audacity, the courage to name the unseen. Newton gave gravity form, Einstein gave it depth. One described the steps of the cosmic dance. The other revealed the stage upon which it is performed. And even now, humanity stands between apple and horizon, gazing into the dark, wondering if gravity has yet another face still hidden from sight, from a falling fruit to the bending of time. Gravity has revealed itself in fragments, never in full. The question remains, if this invisible force vanished, even for a second, what kind of world would we find ourselves drifting into? The stage is set for a vision, a second without anchors. The second begins with a silence so complete it feels unnatural. Gravity, the hidden scriptwriter of existence, withdraws, leaving the stage to forces long overshadowed. The world, unanchored, is still spinning, but nothing clings to its surface. At first, the Earth's rotation asserts itself. At the equator, the surface moves faster than the speed of sound. With gravity absent, everything not fused to the crust begins to follow the tangent of that spin. Cars, oceans, people, all carried outward, sliding into trajectories that no longer curve homeward. The air itself, once bound as atmosphere, slips into upward drift. Clouds shred apart, vapor spreading like an unraveling veil. The oceans are the first to betray the planet. Vast basins lose their grip on water, and entire seas rise, bulging into colossal spheres. They hover above the planet's skin, drifting slowly outward, glimmering like liquid moons. Rivers lift from their beds, streams unravel into beads of silver. Raindrops freeze mid-air before being carried away by inertia. Earth becomes an unfinished painting, smeared with globes of water rising into the black. Satellites feel it next. No longer tethered to Earth's pull, their circular paths straighten instantly. The International Space Station, once safely in orbit, veers into a new trajectory, carrying its crew into the unknown. Communication satellites, weather trackers, the countless silent eyes above all become wandering sparks, exiles cast adrift. The moon itself, though massive, begins its rebellion. Freed from Earth's embrace, it follows its own straight path, leaving behind a planet it has circled for billions of years. The effect is not only celestial. On the ground, bodies float upward, not like balloons, but like stones, suddenly relieved of weight. Yet the motion is deceptive. Inertia gives each object momentum. A thrown ball no longer arcs. It glides endlessly, straight and eternal. A dropped cup does not fall. It hovers in mid-air until the Earth's spin pulls the ground away beneath it. Every gesture becomes a fracture between intention and reality. But gravity is not the only force in nature. In its absence, the subtler players step forward. Electromagnetism, a billion times stronger than gravity, holds atoms together. Tables do not dissolve, rocks do not disintegrate, bodies do not scatter into dust. Molecules cling with stubborn loyalty, held by the binding of electrons. A building still stands for a moment, because its atoms resist separation. But without weight pressing down, the delicate balance of tension and compression falters. Bridges twist, beams groan, skyscrapers begin to shed panels that drift into the air. Structures were designed to bear weight. In weightlessness, they collapse under their own contradictions. Inside the human body, the shift is profound. Blood, no longer drawn downward, redistributes. Hearts evolve to pump against gravity, strain against sudden equilibrium. The sensation is disorienting. Inner ears lose their compass. Stomachs lurch. Minds reel as up and down vanish. The world is not merely floating, it is untethered, without orientation, without center. On a planetary scale, chaos unfolds. Earth's orbit around the sun falters. For that 1 second, freed from the star's pull, the planet drifts in a straight line. When gravity returns, Earth is no longer in its precise orbit. A tiny deviation now cascades into a cosmic consequence, a wobble that could alter seasons, shift climates, even destabilize the dance of planets. A second without gravity ripples outward into centuries of imbalance. The paradox is haunting. Remove gravity, and the universe does not collapse into stillness. It explodes into competing freedoms. Inertia drives motion outward. Electromagnetism binds what it can. Nuclear forces hold the cores of atoms tight. But the grand structures, planets, stars, galaxies, are revealed for what they are. Precarious agreements held together by the gentlest of threads. Scientists attempt to model this impossible second. Equations describe the drift of orbits, the detachment of tides, the trajectories of satellites freed into the dark. The results are catastrophic yet mesmerizing. Oceans lifted into orbit could remain aloft long enough to fall back in storms of apocalyptic scale. The moon's escape would destabilize Earth's tilt, undoing the rhythm of tides, the stability of climates, the very cycles of life. Even the faint redistribution of atmosphere could choke the planet, stripping breathable air into space. And yet, there is beauty in the vision. Imagine standing on a hilltop as the seas rise into skybound globes glistening in sunlight. Imagine cities dissolving upward, glass towers fragmenting into drifting shards, sparkling like constellations above a darkened Earth. For a brief instant, the planet becomes an art installation of chaos. Oceans suspended, mountains unraveling, clouds scattering into eternity. But beauty is fleeting. When gravity resumes, the world collapses with fury. Oceans crash back in tsunamis, the height of mountains. Satellites are yanked into new orbits, colliding, burning through the atmosphere. Buildings that had already twisted in weightless imbalance crumble instantly. Human beings, once gently adrift, plummet to unforgiving ground. The planet reels, wounded by a force it never thought could vanish. The second ends, yet the damage endures. Earth's orbit is skewed, its tides disordered, its skies thinned. What had been a delicate harmony becomes a scarred landscape of shifted seas and broken seasons. 1 second of absence becomes centuries of consequence, and in the silence after destruction comes realization. Gravity is not merely an anchor. It is a mediator, a balance, a quiet keeper of order. Without it, electromagnetism and inertia clash. Structures collapse, worlds drift. The universe is revealed as fragile, not a fortress of permanence, but a tapestry woven from forces that must coexist. This is the paradox of the unbound world: freedom that feels like chaos, beauty that collapses into ruin, a glimpse into a reality without anchors. And so, in imagining the absence of gravity, the question deepens. If this invisible hand is so fragile, so necessary, what does it mean for the future of stars, galaxies, and time itself? The story must turn now to reflection to what gravity truly is, and what its silence teaches us about our place in the cosmos. The vision fades, yet its echo lingers. 1 second without gravity has ended, but the mind cannot let it go. In that brief imagining, the universe was revealed not as a fortress of certainty, but as a fragile arrangement of forces, delicate as a spider's web trembling in the wind. Gravity, the quiet hand, emerges not as destroyer, but as keeper. It has shaped every corner of existence, from the birth of stars to the arc of human footsteps. It is the reason galaxies spiral like frozen hurricanes across the sky. It is the reason time itself flows differently near the edge of a black hole. It is the unseen architect, the silent scriptwriter, guiding the universe into form. Without it, the cosmos is chaos. With it, the universe becomes story. Consider the stars. Gravity gathers scattered hydrogen, pressing it close, igniting nuclear fire. Every sunrise is the gift of collapse held in balance, a star burning because gravity compels atoms to meet. Consider the planets. Their orbits are not accidents, but choreographies written in invisible ink, guided by curves in spacetime. Every tide, every season, every rhythm of life is part of this choreography. And consider black holes' gravity in its most extreme performance. So dense, so absolute, that not even light can escape. In their darkness lies paradox, destruction and preservation entwined. For black holes may be vaults of memory, storing the information of everything they consume, shaping galaxies around them, anchoring the cosmic web itself. Even at its most terrifying, gravity is still creation's tool. To contemplate a universe without it is to confront fragility, life, existence, meaning all rest upon the quiet pull of mass toward mass. Without it, there is no warmth of stars, no orbit of Earth, no weight to anchor thought to the body. Even memory feels heavier when framed against this realization that to exist at all is to be held, to be grounded, to be embraced by a force that cannot be touched, yet touches everything. And yet, the question deepens. What is gravity? Newton gave it form. Einstein gave it depth. But even now, science knows it incompletely. Quantum mechanics, the law book of the small, resists its union with relativity. At the edges of knowledge, near the birth of the universe, within the heart of black holes, gravity's true nature remains veiled. Perhaps it is not fundamental at all, but emergent, born from something deeper. Perhaps what we call gravity is only a shadow of a greater truth, one not yet revealed. The fragility, then, is not only physical, but conceptual. Humanity builds meaning on forces it cannot fully explain, balances entire cosmologies on equations that may one day dissolve. To live is to dwell in mystery, held by a force that even now eludes the sharpest minds. But perhaps this uncertainty is not weakness. Perhaps it is wonder. For wonder is what gravity gives most profoundly. The awe of a falling apple leading to cosmic laws. The astonishment of curved starlight confirming spacetime's bend. The haunting silence of imagining its absence. Gravity reveals the universe not as ordinary, but as extraordinary. A cosmos where the simplest act of falling is connected to the spiraling arms of galaxies. And so, the reflection slows. The Earth spins on oceans, held mountains steady, stars burning far away. The fragile weight of existence continues, invisible yet absolute. But the echo of the question remains: is gravity eternal, or is it only temporary? Will the cosmos one day thin, its fabric loosening, its galaxies drifting apart, until even gravity surrenders? In the far future, physicists imagine such a fate. A universe where expansion overcomes attraction, where stars go dark, where black holes evaporate, where gravity itself becomes memory. The cosmic theater ends not with collapse, but with silence. Or perhaps gravity is something deeper still, not an illusion, but a foundation, a truth woven into the very act of being, a gift not fully understood, but always present, always binding. The question cannot be answered. It can only be carried. And so the documentary closes not with resolution, but with a whisper, a reminder that gravity, like existence itself, is fragile, mysterious, and essential. It is the invisible stage beneath our lives, the unseen presence that holds galaxies in their arms. The fragile weight of existence remains, echoing in the dark. And as the curtain falls on this vision, the question lingers in silence: is gravity the universe's greatest gift, or its most delicate illusion?